Inquisition. What a show, the Inquisition. Here we go, we know you're wishing that we'd go away, but the Inquisition's here and it's here to stay.
Indeed, that time. Report a hit, take a hit. Woe to the growing list of corporate CEOs who say that healthcare reform cost. Apparently, just announcing it costs them more. Henry Waxman already fingering a few of these bosses for a little chat in Washington. The Democratic congressman wants them to testify about how they came up with numbers that seem so diametrically opposed to his own, with, of course, all accompanying details, documentation, emails, any and all exchanges among company officials since the beginning of time, and, if possible, a list of their first and second born. Okay, that last item wasn't in there, but pretty much everything else is and was. So, is this going to be a hearing or, as Mel Brooks would say, an inquisition? Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Neil Cavuto, and this holy weekend, let's get right to the holy hell for some corporations who dare question Washington math. With me now, Charles Payne, Dagan McDowell, Lee Gallagher, and Ben Stein. Ben is author of another book, must be on-off week. This one is The Little Book of Bulletproof Investing. It is Ben's 857th book. Ben, what do you make of this?
Well, this is truly a scandal. It's a shanda, as we Jews would say. The law is very clear. If a corporation incurs a cost, or if something comes along that causes a corporation to have a higher cost, then the corporation must report it as a charge against income or a charge against capital. Clearly, what's happened in the healthcare requires them to have higher healthcare costs because they're not going to get a certain subsidy for drug costs. We don't need to go into the details of that. The law is clear. You must take a charge. The government is trying to McCarthyize them, to bully them, to thuggerize them into not taking this charge and to bear false witness. The law is very clear, a basic law of mankind. Thou shalt not bear false witness. The government is trying to make them bear false witness.
What is interesting, without getting into the details, as have been astutely avoided here, is the way it was done. The first few came out the gate saying, you know, we do have this charge, a charge, by the way, that many of them had telegraphed last July, as a matter of fact. There was hell to pay. Oh, really? You know, why don't you come to Washington? We'll chat about it. What'd you make of just that intimidation?
Without a doubt, it's intimidation, and it does two things. First of all, you bully the businesses, but you also try to paint them in a negative light. Already, to me, the biggest culprit is we're going to find out as these hearings go on, is the notion of profits. You know, on Friday when President Obama was talking about the health care bill, he said some companies are generous enough to pay for it. So I agree with everything that Ben said. This is absolutely amazing, and it's complete bullying. And I think right now the Democrats believe this is the best part of the playbook. Let's go with it. We bullied everything else and bullied this into law in the first place. Let's continue down this path.
You know, Dagan, I was with a bunch of CEOs the other night because I hang out with a powerful crowd because of who I am.
Exactly.
Anyway, I asked one, I said, well, why don't we have more coming out? I said, well, you saw what Waxman did. In other words, saying, you know why, Cavuto.
Exactly. Where are they in Washington? Where are the Democrats going to stop with this? Because there are about 3,500 businesses that offer retiree drug benefits that could take a hit because of this new law. But that really raises the question, where does this all end? What is the real end game here? I mean, it's not just this small select group of companies. It is, they don't want to hear anything that goes against this new health care law. What extent will they go to stop basically estimates about premiums going up, estimates about taxes going up? They're really trying to silence any and all critics, and it will get worse.
What I would like to see, in all seriousness, and I will get to Lee in a second here, is this, or you're going to ask us to come up with how we came up with our numbers. May we ask you how you came up with yours? That's not going to happen, is it? All right, Lee Gallagher, what do you make of this mess?
Well, it's kind of complicated. I mean, this tax, or this, what they're proposing is actually, it's not that much. This is a moderate loophole, and actually what the companies were able to do is sort of double dipping. They were able to deduct both the cost and the subsidy that the government had given them in order to promote the coverage. So it's not that much. They are using scare tactics just as much as Congress.
Well, Lee, it's $1 billion for AT&T. It's almost $1 billion for Verizon.
It is,
and you're quite right. You're quite right to address it the way you did. But they did telegraph last summer that if you do take it away, we will have to, by your own Sarbanes-Oxley rules, announce that and take a charge for that. We will have to do that.
That's true.
And they just did it.
They
so
did.
There's no Machiavellian approach to this.
That's true, and it's accrual accounting. That's why they have to do it now. But by the same token, I do think that
not only accrual accounting, just cruel accounting, but go ahead.
There you go. Nice. I think that, you know, there is no need to politicize this, and I think Congress is getting hysterical by drawing out the hearings and all that. I mean, this is plain, you know, the companies are not doing this for a political reason. They're actually doing it for a plain old big business reason. We want to keep our money, and that's what they are going to do, and that shouldn't be surprising to the lawmakers. So I think there's a little bit of hysteria on both sides.
Ben?
I don't understand, with all due respect to my good friend and colleague Lee, where the hysteria is coming from on the business side. They did not make a hysterical case for that. They simply said, in numbers, we are required by basic accounting rules to now take a charge. We're not yelling at Mr. Obama. We're not calling him names. We're not spitting on him. We're just saying, by the law, we have to now make an arithmetic calculation. We have to take a charge. We didn't. They're not politicizing it. It is entirely my representative from Beverly Hills, Mr. Waxman, who is politicizing it, and it really is disgraceful. It's the kind of thing that they used to call McCarthyism, only it's worse.
You know what I wondered by week's end, Dagan? You had the chairman of Ford taking a pass on announcing any pre-announcement on this, any perceived hit from losing this subsidy. And I'm wondering, not that Ford accepted a bailout, it didn't, but whether the better part of valor for a lot of these guys is just to shut up.
Bury it. But isn't that shocking, though? That
they're not allowed to, Dagan.
I know,
but
give me this second. It is shocking, though, that the Democrats are essentially saying to public companies, don't tell your shareholders who own the company what they need to know as investors. You just better shut up. But they can't. But to Ben's point, you're right, Ben. They can't. They have to announce this and have to reveal this hit.
Guys, this is all part of the program to make profits the villain. This is what this boils down to. Profits are bad. Profits should be mitigated for the greater good. Corporations should be considered part of the greater society and therefore should bite the bullet so everyone is living a better life. This is part of that whole step, and we've seen it evolve right before our eyes.
It's more insidious than that. It's to silence any and all critics, very much like McCarthyism, as Ben was pointing out.
All right, so I'll put you both down as a no on healthcare. All right, when we come back, the good news, the economy adding jobs in March. The bad news, well, a lot of them aren't the jobs you'd expect or certainly be bragging about.